Hi, I'm Carl. For the sake of the people who clicked on this video looking for the title for exactly the information inside of it, we ain't finna waste no time. Let's talk about the mechanics. We are talking about the Nightflower Pollen farm, which has been discovered and was more than likely expected to be nerfed on March 10th. In order to access this, you can only be able to find Nightflower Pollen from a particular blossoming flower inside of the plains terrain only during the time of a full moon. The full moon cycle is as is on screen. In order to access this in your games, you will need to set up your system as such so that you can be able to spawn in with the right procedure. First by going to the environment of plenty, then by going to the environment of time by nighttime, and you will have to roll your clock forward enough internally until you are on the night before a full moon. Then, after succeeding in doing this, you are going to go to post quest. You're going to use one of two different optional quests. The one that I would suggest using is the Leviathan's Temper. There is another one off the top of my head that I cannot remember the name of, but it has something to do with another quest in this area. I cannot remember which one it was, so I'm going to suggest for you to use the one that I'm talking about, but preferably you want anything that is looking for the plains in evening in a time of plenty. It will automatically set the time at the time that you need. There are several different base camps that you can go to for this particular purpose and this particular farm. The one that I would suggest that you use is Area 9 Lookout Hill and Area 4 West. You can also get away with using Area 4 Mineral Cave, which is a little part south from Area 4 West. You can also make use of Area 10, but I prefer Area 9 because I like food, and I like getting the consumable food. You start the quest as such, quick accept and quick start. It will save and load based on your timer that you had on your map. So if you were in a time of plenty during the full moon cycle before it is about to become the full moon, this allows you to use this process so that when you save and quit, you will be out where you need to be. Then you need to wait until exactly about 1 minute has passed inside of the mission. The sky will go to night, and you will be able to see that it is in fact a full moon because, and I will show you when we get there, when a full moon is underway, everything will be spawned on the map as is based on their timers. This is not the only thing in the game that works like this. This also works like this for the fish. If you need points to be able to reset your clock, as it costs 300 guild points to be able to roll your clock forward. If you have never discovered this feature or tool, or this setup or this farm, or this discussion topic before the game started, you will more than likely have more than enough guild points. You will gain them as you play. You will simply do whatever it is that you would like to farm or you would like to gather before the Night Blossom is spawned in the two locations upon which it appears in the map. One of which happens to be at Area 10, and another one, the only other one, is here on a hill at Area 4. I will show you how to get both. So as I go through this rotation, and I collect this material, you can be able to do anything you want to on the map. The way that you know that you're on a full moon cycle is that you will be able to look into the sky, and you will be able to see the moon as a part of your cycle. It has to rise over the horizon, and it also takes about a minute for the night bloom spawns to actually activate. They don't activate instantaneously. They will actually spawn open gradually. So you just simply collect whatever it is you intend on collecting. You can do this as slow as you want. You can do this as fast as you want. Since the mission itself starts in this state, this gives you about 10 minutes based on your environmental timer to see that it is nighttime and plenty, because the mission is hard-coded rather than being a mission that is being started via area surveillance. It'll always be in this state of existence, whether or not it will always be a full moon. Some people have material out there that says that it will be based on this, based on your map. Some say that it can be done with this automatically without having to do any extra effort. I suggest doing the setup for both, because you'll probably experiment with doing this on your world map, and then doing this inside of your optional missions. as you can see, because there is a precursor on the map, it also comes up inside of your gathering node as Ethereal Blossom. You cannot collect this on horseback. You must collect this on foot. It will play an animation. Once you collect the material, it will then put the Nightflower Pollen inside of your caps. And to demonstrate, I'm currently wearing a full loadout of an armor set intended for gathering. This is Botanist, this is Geologist, as well as Entomologist 1. Notice that you cannot increase this. Whoever tells you that there's a way for you to increase the amounts that you gain, it is a lie. It does not work with anything. It certainly does not work with Moxie Meal. It only works this way. You will only ever gather 1. Now, moving from 10 to 4, you move. The fastest you can move from 4 is to move from Camp West. If you were to move the other way, it would be moving from this cave, because this is area for a mineral campsite. This is safe, whereas this one is considered unsafe. If you want one that will never get broken and will never be destroyed, 4 Mineral Cave and 9 Lookout Hill are probably the best choices, because 10 will be hunted down by the, not Raytheon, the Quentormice and the Polyoths, whereas 4 can potentially be broken by Gyroperos. But as you see, you jump from the hill that you would have encountered Arkveld in, or you would have encountered Gyroperos in, and you jump down with the Sacred, using the glide to get to this node here. And by doing this, you collect both instances of the Ephemeral Blossom. Then, after you do so, you simply return from quest, rinse, and repeat. That is it. That is all you need to do for this farm. If you have no intention on reading or watching from this point, my name is SinglePlayerCarl. I make content. I stream. Please drop into the chat if you see me live at any point in time after you watch this or you view this. And shout out if you discover this because of me. Share it with your friends. You only have 2 days to make use of this, assuming that it gets nerfed. That being said, for everybody else who is staying to hear me talk, let's talk about this. I'm going to come at this from the viewpoint of myself. Me, I'm a scientist. But there are 3 prevailing discussions that are happening right now concerning this farm. There are 3 viewpoints. There are those that are going to do it. There are those that, because they now have been told that it exists, are going to do it. And there are those that, because they have been told that it exists, explicitly will not do it for the sake of brevity and conversation at the cost of accuracy and at the cost of at the cost of brevity, for the sake of brevity and accuracy, but at the cost of detail and complexity, to mine down the topic and their concern, are going to say, no, I will not do this because that is gay. The people who are type A content creators, chatters, players, and users, they're going to use this farm no matter what. There is no amount of nerfing, there's no amount of changing, there's no amount of stopping. They do not care. It is not a question of whether or not you can do it for fun. It is not a question of whether you're doing it for content. It is not a question of whether you are doing so to give people entertainment value. People are going to use this as a form of a shortcut, as a cheat. It is a game. They do not care. The game is meant to be played. They are going to play the game the way that they want. It does not control you. It's a single player environment. Blase, blase, blase. All the boring excuses. And I do see them as excuses because at the end of the day, there is an entire system that is being invalidated because of this type of farm, and I will talk about it because it's more than likely the reason that this is being nerfed to begin with. Type B content creators, players, consumers, they're going to see this And they're going to see how simple it was to set this up. Painless, easy to use, rip it off like a band-aid, not hard. Damn, I can't believe it's that simple. I can't believe it's not bait. They're going to see that this is something that is time limited. There is a true fear of missing out. Once this is gone, it will be looked back as the peak of the beginning of MonsterHunterWilds. The same that there was a peak for Helldivers 2. There was a peak for any game that had a system or had a farm or had a tedious grind that all you had to do was a simple 3-step process that produced you output over time, that trivialized the now weaker, less efficient, or just simply boring methods of play or engagement. And they're going to do it simply because normally they wouldn't, but because they literally are going to remove this, I guess I can take advantage of this for the 2 days I have left and remaining. And then there are those that are going to see this, they're going to see what people are doing, and they are going to say to themselves, nigga, that is gay. And they are not going to do it. They are not going to farm it. They are not going to play it. And they are, at best, going to maybe do it once to see how it feels. And then more than likely, they will be the type of Type C user that after seeing what Type A and Type B are doing, if they do choose to use it, they're going to be the person that's going to clear this mission, or the other missions that are capable of using this. And they're going to simply play the game as it was created, as it was written. My perspective is, it does not matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. If you're going to use the farm, you're going to use the farm, and there's not a single thing that would have convinced you to do otherwise. If you're going to use the farm because the farm exists for now, and you simply do not want to miss out on something that will trivialize a part of the long-term in-game grind for you, and the only reason you want to do it is because you want to play with your friends. There are other tools, and there are other weapons, and there are other builds that you'd like to try. And for those that are doing it for the armor spears, for the Ardian relics, for the decorations, or for materials, I don't care what it is. They all fall under the exact same purview, which is you're trying to play the game for fun, you're doing it for science, you're doing it for education, you're doing it to demonstrate how it used to be, what have you. Couldn't care. Type A, Type B, go be free. Have fun. I do not care. And then for the Type C, they're going to see it, and inherently, this is not Monster Hunter. Now people will say, but of course it's Monster Hunter. This is the least Monster Hunter-y game that has ever hunted the monster. This is, in many ways as possible, the lowest form. Literally the lowest form. The lowest form of fun. Not only are you absorbing the fun out of it, not only are you taking the joy out of it, not only are you making it likely that you are bored and possibly killing your own investment, but quintessentially, this is nothing more than number go up simulator. You are doing something to burn the time and to take advantage of something that you otherwise would not have the ability to take advantage of, and you are trying to maximize your effort and your gain at the cost of nothing. It is to no one's detriment, it is to no one's harm, but also at the same time, you inherently do not like it, you do not fuck with it, you consider it to be lazy, you would rather have fun doing it the intended method, because the intended method is investigations. More on that after this run. The way that I see it, I am a greatsword, hunting horn, and insect glaive player. I started the game with hunting horn and greatsword as my primary and secondary. I used earplugs, horns to supplement and to cover the weakness of the greatsword with being interrupted in the middle of charges by enemy roars with earplugs. and when necessary with enemies that required a bit more focus into being stunned by quick, efficient attacks, I used the hunting horn to cover it. Then, as I now transitioned into using the equipment that I wanted for my preference with my skills, after playing the game and hard grinding it, only taking time off in which to record content such as this, or record other content for my channel, or to do other live streams such as the Versus Chat that will be coming up today, later on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Whenever I would do other content, I would play the game, and then farm as best as I could, knock out all the quests to get the material selection done, knock out all the quests to get all of the other tools done, move forward through the high rank end game quests. And when I came away from it and I did the math, I said the exact same thing that I said to myself, moving from the position of a type 2, or excuse me, from the position of a type 3 user to a type 2 user, from a type C user to a type B user, as it's not going to be here, it's only going to be there for 2 days, it doesn't really matter, the people who are going to use it are going to use it, and the people who won't. And ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about it, yeah, it is a video game. But let's spin the wheel on the arguments, right? It's a single player game. I can do whatever I want. No, actually, it is not a single player game. In truth, it is actually a forced online video game. But it defaults to putting you in offline sessions should you not be able to connect to an online lobby, or even into online single player lobby. The way that every player chooses to play the game can be able to destroy any sense of balance and any sense of importance that they have designed for the systems in question, because if every single player, if nothing were to change, were to engage in this Night Pollen system, there is literally no excuse for any player to ever be dog shit in the game, period. There is no reason for them to show up to missions inefficient. There is no reason for them to show up to missions unskilled. There is no reason for them to show up to missions ungeared. There is no reason for them to show up to missions outside of hunting the monsters and getting their particular equipment to not show up with the right decorations, for them to not be able to have the maximized arty and weapon that they would like to design, since it is a build-a-weapon workshop. There is no reason for them to ever fall behind, and there is no reason why they could not be able to catch up, because outside of Arkveld Tempered Grind, the game, it then becomes Pollen Hunting 101, the game. Because the intended system that it was designed for was for the investigation system. We were intended to save copies of enemies we found in the environment and fight those enemies to get things such as the fragments that come with the quest. The basic materials, the value materials, and the rest of weapon shards. You could get enemies that are as juiced and as crazy as this one. You could get enemies that are juiced and as crazy as this one. This is probably not the better one. This one is technically okay, but this is a 6. You could get ones that were like this one, but doubled. Sky is the limit. You could get one that is as crazy as this Tempered Dogashima. This was the intended system. This was the intended farm. You can have up to 50 of these saved. You can save normal investigations. You can save tempered investigations. You can save, I don't think I have any left, because I probably killed them all. You could save at 1. You can save frenzied investigations. Any place, any time, on any map, where you can be able to open up the map, go into the map, do environmental view, and click on create quest. You could then save that instance as an investigation. So if I were to save this Tempered Balahara, I would get access to these damaged weapon shards, which is 9 in a mission, and I believe instead of the version that it was inside of Monster Hunter World, where you could have anything up to 9 copies of an investigation per instance, or multitudes of different reward types per the bronze, silver, or gold question marker, denoting the value of material, which is what this gold symbol is. You could get up to maybe 9 to a maximum of 2 to 3, I believe now it crushes down all your options on the quest counter with Alma, or as I call her, the Pocket Jew, specifically down to 3 instances each. So, the number of the loot, multiplied by the instances on the bonus rewards, multiplied by the amounts of times you have left to kill, is the amount of ways that we were intended to farm this. For whatever enemy you were going to fight and farm, wherever you were going to fight and farm them. If every single player were to do this, it would remove the fun of the game. Outside of the fun of getting the hit and being excited for the fact that you worked for the drop. So for example, looking at my equipment, this Sleep Jewel 2 that it's on this setup, this Sonorous Attack Jewel 3, this Sharp, this Mighty, this Destroyer, these Botanies, these Geologies, these Specimens, flipping over to the Insect Glaive, this Enhancer 2, the Razor Sharp Blaze, the Mighties, the Destroyers, the Earplugs, the Refresh. I farmed these. This Ardian Glaive 2, I farmed this. Didn't need to even worry about it. Not even concerned that it'll be gone. Simply doing it because, why not? It's content. We can talk about it. For people like myself, I am a Type C user. I was never going to be personally affected by them taking it away. I didn't care. I understand how to play the game. For the Type B and Type A user and chatter, that they see it as just a game to be played, you are literally the meme, you have not learned, you cheated yourself, you cheated not only yourself but the game, you cheated not your game and only yourself, you learned nothing, you lose, good day sir, it is the meme. There is certifiably little to no reason to ever engage with the investigation system if all you ever do is slam this. Because you can then turn this in with trade to immediately get all the benefit that you want. And to demonstrate how quickly you can do this, instead of harvesting for bone, I'm going to just harvest for the food. And then run immediately over to the instance. It takes little to no effort. The only thing you have to do is at least spend, at minimum, a minute in the quest in order for the quest to enable you to grab them and then rinse and repeat. If every single player in the game were to do this farm, not only are you trivializing the game, but you are inherently not playing it. Because all you really have to do is stand here and wait for it to open. That is it. Everyone can do that. And if everyone can do that, then what is the point of playing the game? What is the point? The point of Monster Hunter is not to farm flower. The point of Monster Hunter is to fight monsters. Anything that is an ends or a means to getting the loot, to getting the armor, to getting the weapons, to getting the decorations that we would like on our equipment, it is all a means to an end. So for them, it is much like, say, Balatro, or any other single-player game, where you can actually modify the values of the game data to give yourself infinite lives, or to give yourself whatever the fuck you want. What's the point? What's the point of playing if you're going to trivialize the game like that? Because more than likely, what will happen, and what will actually be the case, is much like all the people who did the exact same thing with Helldivers 2, and probably still are, the same people who did the same thing with every other tourist frequented game. Every single person with Weekend Warriors, every single game with players that do not care about the world and the environment, people who do not give a shit about any of the deeper concerns, about, quote, meta, or following this meta, and ignoring the necessary skills and traits that you need to have in order to truly enjoy yourself. This is the game to you. This is the game. You rinse and you repeat, because this methodology is the result of, for some people, the OBT and this first week of the launch to discover the fastest method in which to farm for the end game and thus be, quote, raid ready. I want people to understand that games are to be played, yes, but they're also meant to be enjoyed and savored. Same conversation about respecting that I had with Path of Exile 2 is the same thing that I have going into the 0.21 patch that is going to be coming out in a while. As is my philosophy as a person who plays games where I am expected to reset and repeat and start from permadeath 0 multiple times. I do not care about the equipment. It is a game. I will play it. I will get back there. The money is just an obstacle for my ability to paint on my canvas of fun. I do not care on the wider spend. However, as a scientist, I have already gotten my enjoyment and my fun and my belovedment out of it. At that point, it is just a question and a conversation about how to best achieve the goal in question and how to supply it to those that simply lack the knowledge so that you can then have a deeper discussion. When this first was discovered, it was widely accepted that it was going to be spammed because literally there is no downside. The only loss is time. However, in order to pump up your quantitative amount of Nightflower Pollen to take advantage of for your tickets, you have to first spend hours of effort. And in that hours and hours and hours of effort, that hours of effort basically mines down to your ability to farm, and your best ability to farm is based around you taking advantage of this cycle. Give me 1 second as I look up the number. I had it written down here, but I didn't save it. 1 second. So, looking at the results on my save, bring it up over here. After a little bit of running, my results were as follows. 50 minutes is 32 Night Pollen. Trading everything takes 40 minutes, since a refresh takes 25 seconds, and the odds of getting a melding or relic ticket are about 1 in 3. This would result in about 32 golden melding tickets, which is about an hour, 30 minutes of work, which, with that, you can then get 320 max level weapon decorations, 640 max level armor decorations, 480 max level weapon relics, or 96 hard armor spears, which are, I believe, the ones that give 5,000 on their upgrade. I forget the number. This then becomes based on how quickly you can do this. I've seen people have runs that are underneath 2 minutes, assuming that you spend enough time doing it that you can get it all the way down to, what, 1 minute 50 seconds? If you skip everything else and you just sit on the flower, and then you move to 4, and then you sit on the flower, and then you reset as quickly as you can, and you reset the mission. This gains you material. This gains you a slow stack of guild points. If you do this the net negative method of guild points, this gains you materials. It gains you armor, weapon, decorations, and jewels. But you are going to lose an hour to 30 minutes, or you're going to lose 50 minutes times however long you do it for. Amount of time actually playing the part of the game that actually matters. You're going to lose 50 minutes of fighting monsters. You're going to lose 20 minutes of probably setting up the moon. You're going to lose the 32 golden melding tickets time of an hour and 30 minutes total with repeating the process. This is obviously not healthy for the game. And while I understand the perspective of the people that want to trivialize the gameplay, because, it's just a game. Why do you care? It's because I want you to be able to be on top of that monster with your high-level gear. If you show up in my hunt and you don't know how to function on a weapon because you didn't go into the goddamn lab and learn your weapon, learn what your weapon was capable of, learn how to best encounter the enemy that you're going to fight, master your tool, despite having all this available to you, if it weren't already over the time period in which we could then be able to refund the game, and if I didn't pre-order it, throw the entire fucking game away. Throw the entire fucking community away. Because that is not a community. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that is not a community. That is not what gameplay is. That's not what I play games for. That's not how I enjoy playing games with other people for. That shit is fucking whack. That shit is fucking boring. That shit is fucking garbage. That shit is fucking gay. For all three of those groups, it is up there with the memes from Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 about the glitched ledge in Cromarax's lair in DLC 3. And then the Son of Cromarax jokes that they make about the super boss inside of that DLC hunting pack. We'll look back at it fondly, we will have our memories, but ultimately what we should care more about is the other memories that we made. Because are you really going to look fondly back on spamming this method like you are a gold farmer in old school RuneScape? No, you will not. Let's be dead ass, let's be serious, let's be fucking for real. No, you fucking won't. You will not look favorably back on this time. You'll care about all the fun things you got to do because you did this, but you will look back at it as what it is. A fucking job. It is tedium. It was work. And then after doing the work, you got to play the game. For those people that saw it as tedium and work that needed to be done so that you could then go off and make whatever content you want. So if you're like our friend Chase the Bro, shout out to Chase the Bro and the Elden Ring / Souls-like player base and community. If you're someone like Chase the Bro, you're making PvP streams all the time. You're fighting people with different types of setups and different types of ideas to make different types of content. This is something that you will have to do. If you're me, if you're a content creator of any type, and you simply just want to be able to display how it is done in the quickest, efficient manner possible in the front, and you want to have a conversation at the end, I got you. I ain't mad at you. I'm on one. If you're the type of user that simply will take advantage of it because it is there, not annoyed with you. If you're the type of person that is saying, bro, what does it matter? Why do you care? Why are you trying to control what other people do? You're probably the person who this is targeted for. And this is the reason why I want to give you the perspective. I play a game called Balatro. A lot. I've been playing it a lot. In fact, currently looking at my time played, I have over 1,000 hours in it. Just in playtime of active play. But in terms of how much I've learned, I've gleaned a lot from other content creators. But I play that game, right? I play it nonstop. In order for me to get better at this game, I have to throw more hands. There's no cheating the system. The same way that with playing this game, I have to learn at the hunt. Both of these games require the exact same skill. It wants nothing of you but to play it. There is no method in Balatro to speed up the advance of which I get to do what I want. That's called white stake. Almost any strategy that you want could be used for practice and for research. But ultimately, the way that you play on a lower stake hand is not the way that you would play on gold stake. So the builds that you could do on white stake that works at all times, because anything can work on white stake, is not the same thing that works inside of a gold stake run. You have multiple factors that are in play. You've got multiple ideas that could potentially present themselves to you. But much like you shouldn't in a strategy game, using the ideas of best and optimal do not matter. Or rather, they are a less factor. Because you cannot create a system farm where in Monster Hunter you can farm Night Pollen and now you have access to whatever you want in the game. You have so many copies of the Ardean weapons that who fucking cares what you do next? Whereas here, there is no such thing. Even here, even with all that material there, you still have to apply game sense. You still have to apply game knowledge. If you have game knowledge and game sense and you use this, again, there is literally no excuse. If you are a new player who's coming in, you know nothing about the game, you have no idea of its quality, you have no idea of its quantity. If you use this method and you then go into a hunt, and you are then dog shit in that hunt, and we then ask you afterwards, well, what are you struggling with? And you say, well, bro, I did this system, but I don't know. My weapon's just ass. I'm on your ass! And I will mock the shit out of you! Because skill still fucking matters. No matter what video game you play, no matter what broken, easy to farm, simple method of gameplay you use, you still have to be good at the game. In order to be invested in that loop, something has to keep you playing. If all you want to do in Balatro is see number go up, you will learn naturally how to make number go up. If you learn from others like myself, in the case of Balatro, I would suggest Raffle Light. In this, just simply watch my streams. You're gonna see me do some crazy shit soon. No matter how you get the resource of the information, what matters more is the talent, is the effort, and the rigor. You do the rigor, there is no problem. You skip the rigor, and you try to trivialize the conversation, and you try to make the other person sound like they're a control freak, simply because they want you to actually be there for the gameplay, and actually be there for the community, not to be there to get in and get out and get your benefits, because that's how you choose to play the game, and the way you play the game is the best way and the only way that matters to you. Fuck everybody else, and you have no interest in involving yourself in an environment, then that is inherently selfish. And that is the reason why people concern themselves with this. Because no matter how many ways you mine down, the way that you choose to play these games is the way that you choose to conduct and live yourself in your life. Now me, I am an economist. I'm a capitalist. But you better believe I've become a communist when I play fucking video games. I'm trying to get as much value out of everything that I can do possible in the game as is offered to me. However, at some point, I would get bored of doing this. So there will be a high cap point that, while I continue doing this until showtime, that there is a point at which I say, now that I've done that, I will never need to do it again. And it is a literal non-factor. But doing this on a loop, 24 hours a day, 24/7, that's not truly playing a game. The best comparative example that I can make for this is, of course, the other game I play, which is Path of Exile, or another game that I play but I've taken a hiatus on, which is Old School RuneScape. Doing the same thing over and over again, to the sake of tedium, will become boring. So you'll want to switch it up and you'll want to vary it up. The entire idea is that you're trying to perfect your build as best as you can possibly get it. Now for us, we have save files. If you truly want to be holistic and never engage with this, then you can do it the intended purpose. You can wait until you know that it's the full moon, you can track it on the full moon, pick up a couple of these along the way, and Bob's your uncle. Because that's how it was intended. They made it sparse and rare during the full moon so that you did not try to farm this. And yet, gamers found a way. At the same time, if you care so much to be puristic and holistic about it, make a new save file and don't engage with it. If you only care about getting the data and you only care about knowing the knowledge, get the data and know the knowledge. And never between shall you be seen again. If you care more about the mindset behind the people that are giving you the advice and presenting the argument to you, to the point that you want to ignore them because you want what you want and you don't fucking care who tries to tell you otherwise, you have to come to the understanding that it is a game with a community. In that community, we expect things of you. We expect you to be able to learn. We expect you to be able to grow. And while there are plenty of people that will argue and make the content simply to hit the algorithm to see whether or not they should do it or not, I am less concerned with what you choose to do with it, and I am more concerned with you understanding each other. I want the type A's and the type B's to understand the perspective of the type C's. And I want the type C's to be able to understand the type A's and the type B's. And if you are capable and you are willing to shake hands with each other and let bygones be bygones, it's gonna be here today and gone by what? Fucking Monday? And then for everybody else, who had no opinion, you're a Type D user, you had no context of what's going on, you just clicked on this video and wanted to hear me talk, congratulations. This is the mecca of video games, where everybody's angry about the way that somebody does something, or concerned with the way someone does something, or wants to offer the perspective of the people who do the thing that they're doing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is all about what you do with the material, not about how you acquired it. At least in terms of video games. The point and advice of playing video games the way you live your life is always going to be relevant. But in this case, unlike, say, doing OnlyFans to then make money to become a millionaire, but having to sell your body on the internet, in this case, the way in which you have acquired these decorations does not matter. What does matter is how you apply them, and you actually being able to perform as you have all of that top-tier gear and equipment. I don't want to see you showing up in Monster Hunter like it's your first time visiting the Aspen Alps, and you don't even know how to ski, and you're wearing the most expensive, most meaningless, most dog shit, useless fucking gear that you could have had for the hobby, when you could have shown up with a snowboard and a good-ass caliper. Alright? Okay? That's it. That's the conversation. If you were one of the people in the beginning that just wanted to get the advice and get the strategy from the beginning, I applaud you sitting here through the yap session. We will see you next time. Have a good day or good evening, and please know that this information may or may not become outdated by the time that this patch comes out. So, consider this a time capsule. And consider this my opinion. Goodbye.